Most people imagine the ancient world as kings, pyramids, giant temples, and glorious battles. But for every emperor wearing gold, there were thousands of ordinary people doing jobs so horrific that even execution sometimes sounded merciful. These weren't punishments. These were real careers. People woke up every morning knowing this was how they would earn food for their family. Some spent their entire lives breathing poison. Some climbed into places no human should ever enter. Some worked so close to death that surviving one more day was considered a success. 5 ancient jobs so miserable that you'll be grateful you were born in the modern world. 1. Roman sewer cleaner. It's the 1st century AD. Beneath the streets of Rome, above your head, nearly 1 million people are living their lives. Below your feet is the Cloaca Maxima, one of the greatest engineering projects in the ancient world, one of the worst places a human being could possibly work. Rome's massive sewer carried away rainwater, waste, dead animals, slaughterhouse remains, and everything else a city wanted to forget. But sewers don't clean themselves. Someone had to go inside. Workers climbed into tunnels that were almost completely dark. The smell was overwhelming. The air itself could kill. They had no understanding of poisonous gases like methane or hydrogen sulfide. Sometimes a man simply walked into a tunnel, collapsed, and never came back out. Floods were even worse. Heavy rain could turn narrow passages into violent rivers in minutes. Workers were smashed against stone walls or swept away into underground channels. Then came the rats, thousands of them, along with insects, disease, parasites, and whatever else had been washed into the sewer that week. If something valuable fell into the drains, a ring, a statue, money, someone had to retrieve it, usually by hand. Rome is remembered for magnificent roads and towering aqueducts. Very few people remember the men who spent their lives waist-deep beneath those streets so the city could function. 2. Egyptian tomb builder. It's around 1250 BC in the Valley of the Kings. A pharaoh has ordered his eternal home. The tomb must be perfect, because it is meant to last forever. Thousands of workers spend years carving through solid limestone using copper chisels, wooden mallets, and stone hammers. Every inch is cut by hand. Inside the tunnels, the air barely moves. The deeper they carve, the hotter it becomes. Oil lamps provide just enough light to see. They also fill the chambers with smoke. Day after day, workers inhale limestone dust that slowly destroys their lungs. One mistake can be fatal. A ceiling collapses, a tunnel floods, a supporting wall gives way, the mountain simply buries everyone inside. Even after the tomb is finished, the danger isn't over. Many of the artists and craftsmen know the location of hidden treasure rooms. Some historians believe workers were closely watched afterward, because a man who knows where a king's gold is buried becomes a dangerous man. Ironically, the people who built the greatest tombs in history rarely received magnificent burials themselves. They spent their lives creating eternity for someone else. 3. Greek silver miner. It's the 5th century BC at the silver mines of Laurion near Athens. The tunnel ahead is barely wider than your shoulders. Children work here, so do slaves, so do prisoners. The passages are so narrow that grown men crawl instead of walking. Hour after hour they chip away at rock with bronze tools. The deeper they go, the less fresh air exists. Dust fills every breath. Torches consume what little oxygen remains. Then comes the mercury. Silver extraction often involved poisonous materials that workers handled with almost no protection. Slow poisoning becomes part of everyday life. Hands shake, vision fades, breathing becomes difficult. Many miners never reach old age. Yet these mines make Athens incredibly rich. The silver pays for warships, temples, statues, democracy itself. One of history's greatest civilizations is literally built on the backs of men who rarely see daylight. While philosophers debate justice above ground, miners disappear forever beneath it. 4. Roman gladiator animal handler. It's dawn inside the Colosseum. The crowd hasn't arrived yet. But underneath the arena, hundreds of animals already have: lions, leopards, hyenas, bears, wolves, bulls, even elephants. Someone has to feed them. Someone has to clean their cages. Someone has to move them into elevators beneath the arena floor. That someone is you. The animals are terrified, hungry, injured, confused after months trapped in tiny cages. One broken rope, one unlocked gate, one frightened lion, and the handlers become breakfast before the games even begin. Ancient writers describe keepers being mauled while transporting animals through underground corridors. Others are crushed while moving cages weighing several tons. And unlike gladiators, these workers receive no glory, no cheering crowd, no prize money. If they survive another day, they simply come back tomorrow to feed the same predators all over again. Chinese salt mine worker. It's ancient China. Long before electricity, people are drilling for salt hundreds of feet beneath the earth. Salt isn't just seasoning, it's survival. It preserves food, feeds armies, generates enormous tax revenue. The deeper the wells become, the more dangerous the work. Workers descend into narrow shafts using primitive wooden platforms and ropes. Sometimes the rope snaps. Sometimes poisonous natural gas fills the tunnels without warning. Some wells even release explosive methane. One spark from an oil lamp, and the entire shaft erupts into flames. Chinese engineers eventually invent bamboo pipelines to carry natural gas away from the wells. It is one of the earliest examples of industrial engineering in history. But before those innovations become widespread, workers face invisible dangers every single day. A man can begin his shift healthy and never climb back out. Thousands risk everything, not for gold, not for silver, but for something people now leave forgotten at the edge of their dinner plate. History usually remembers emperors, generals, inventors, the people whose names survive, but civilizations weren't built by famous men alone. They were built by sewer cleaners breathing poison beneath Rome, by miners who never saw the sun, by craftsmen carving tombs they would never be buried in, by handlers standing inches from starving lions, by workers disappearing into the earth so everyone else could preserve their food. Their names are gone, their work remains. Every ancient wonder people admire today was only possible because someone accepted a job no sane person would ever choose, and history almost never remembered them.